All right, so in our ISO 1464 series, we've spent a lot of time learning how to build things, how to build greenhouse gas inventories, and how to build GHG projects. Now it's time to learn how to tear them apart and see if they actually hold up. Let's dive in.
This is really where the rubber meets the road. I mean, all the work that goes into parts 1 and 2 is pretty much meaningless without this final, crucial step. We're not the creators anymore. We're the critics. Our job now is to find the cracks, to challenge every single assumption, and to make absolutely sure that the final statement is built on a rock-solid foundation of evidence.
That's right, we're making a huge shift here. We're going from the how-to of GHG accounting to the how-to check of GHG auditing. It's a completely fundamental change in perspective, and believe me, it requires a totally different set of skills and let's say, a healthy dose of professional skepticism. This question gets right to the very heart of what a verifier does. It's not just about crunching numbers that are put in front of you. It's about understanding the context, the timeline of a GHG statement. And as you're about to see, the answer to this one question pretty much determines the entire approach to the audit.
And here is that core distinction. Verification looks at the past, while validation looks to the future. You can think of it as the difference between, say, reviewing a history book versus reviewing a business plan. Both are incredibly important, right? But they require completely different ways of thinking.
The standard itself is crystal clear on this. You can see it right here. Verification is all about the evidence. Did this actually happen? Can you prove it? Validation, on the other hand, that's all about plausibility. Do these projections actually make sense? Are the assumptions realistic? It's a subtle difference, but it is absolutely crucial.
And if you want a really simple way to lock this in your head, think of it like this. Validation is like an engineer checking a building's blueprint before anyone even starts construction. They're making sure the design is sound, the calculations are reasonable. But verification, that's like an accountant auditing the receipts after the building is finished, confirming every dollar was spent as claimed.
So we know what to check, but just as important is how we check it. You know, a verifier's most valuable tool isn't a calculator or a spreadsheet. It's their mindset. It's a very specific way of thinking that underpins the entire audit process and, frankly, ensures its credibility.
And this quote, this is the absolute core of professional skepticism. A good verifier doesn't go in looking to confirm that everything is right, they go in looking for what might be missing. It's about approaching every single claim with a healthy dose of doubt and demanding hard evidence for every assertion. It's the mindset that separates a real auditor from someone who's just checking boxes. And just so you know, this isn't just a matter of professional opinion. The standard itself actually lays out these core principles. You have to be impartial. Your approach must be evidence-based. You have to present findings fairly. And you have to be conservative in your judgments. These are the absolute non-negotiables of any credible audit.
Okay, so you've got the right mindset. Now what? The next big question is, how deep do you actually need to go? See, not all audits require the same level of deep dive scrutiny. And this is a really critical decision you have to make right up front, because it's going to shape the entire scope and method of the audit.
This whole concept is called the level of assurance. And it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It's the degree of confidence that the audit gives you in that final GHG statement. And in the world of GHG verification, you basically got two main levels to choose from.
This standard gives us two distinct options. On one hand, you have limited assurance. Think of this as a broader, more high-level review. It's really useful for internal purposes or maybe for stakeholders who just need a general sense of confidence. But on the other hand, you've got reasonable assurance. And this is a much more rigorous and detailed investigation. This is the gold standard for public reporting and for any situation where a high degree of confidence is an absolute must.
And to make that distinction crystal clear, here's our final metaphor for today. A limited assurance engagement? That's like snorkeling. You're looking at things from the surface, you're checking the overall logic, making sure nothing looks obviously out of place. But a reasonable assurance engagement, that's like scuba diving. You go deep, you check the math, you inspect the meters, you follow the data trails all the way back to their source. It is a much more detailed and exhaustive investigation.
So to quickly recap, we've covered the core distinction between verification and validation. We've talked about the crucial importance of professional skepticism, and we've defined the two levels of assurance. With these key concepts in your toolkit, you are now officially ready to step into the auditor's seat. Welcome to the auditor's seat. The principles we just talked about are your compass, and the standards are your map. It's a challenging role for sure, but it is also an incredibly powerful one.
You are the guardian of credibility, so make sure you subscribe to master the entire audit process with us.
But our journey is really just beginning. In our next explainer, we're going to move from theory to practice. We'll dive into the nitty-gritty of pre-engagement and planning, and we'll show you exactly how to lay the groundwork for a successful audit. You are not going to want to miss it.